Good morning, YouTube. How are you guys? Listen, I was sitting here taking a little break. You know, Thanksgiving is upon us. And so I always do all of the cooking. Even if we would go to visit someone else, I always made a full meal for my home. And I've learned to make things easier on myself. So what I'm doing right now is a little prep. I was chopping up all of the vegetables that I know that I'm going to use because once you start cooking, you don't want to have to stop and chop, stop and cut, stop and slice, dice, whatever. Even with the food processor, you don't want to go through all of that. And then there are some things that no matter how many different blades that you have on your food processor, it might not be the size or the shape that you want it. So I do a lot of prep by hand. So what I was doing is chopping all of my onions, peppers, any types of vegetables. I was preparing some of my fruits and things that I'm going to use. Uh, and it's not a lot of work, it's just a lot of time. And so what I do is sit down and spread out my table and go at it, and just go at it and put everything in containers or bags. Some can be refrigerated, some can be frozen. And I'm doing it now so that it will be easy and it'll still be just like if you fresh cut it. It will still be like you freshly cut it. So I was taking a little break because I'm hot. I don't know if you can see all this shine on me, but I'm hot. So while I was taking a break, I decided there were some things that I wanted to talk about. I've been sitting here catching up on videos too while I did my prep work. And a couple of days ago, I made some notes as well, but I added to them. Well, I had some ideas, and I said, before I have so much that I can't even pay attention to, let me come in and do it now. So this is about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm going to do this part now because I know there's another episode going to be coming up, and I don't want to try and have to remember all these things about different things. I'm not going to say that I'm going to review the show because I'm probably not. There are a lot of people out there who are really into it, who do these reviews, and they're great, and I just watch them. I watch them and do my comments. But I had a few things I wanted to say, so it's not going to be a review, but I'll probably will come in and just give my thoughts on a couple of things. So I want to talk about Kandi and Phaedra. That's it. I'm not going through the whole show and all that stuff, but I wrote some things here. And let me start out by saying I pretty much have always liked Kandi, and I pretty much always I loved Phaedra. I did that when she first came on the show. I didn't really care for her because she came with a lie from the door. Not knowing how far along you are in your pregnancy is preposterous. It really is. That was bull, and we know it. Oh, which brings to this reminds me. Now, even though everybody knew that she was not being honest, they knew that she was lying about that time frame because she didn't want. I guess she didn't want to admit or have her mother know or anyone else know that she had gotten pregnant before she got married. Everybody already knew that. They knew that, but they just seemed to let it go. But do you notice that the first person to really confirm and to tell a room full of people how far along she really was Kandi. Kandi came in there and pretty much said, "Oh yeah, she lied. Oh child." She came into that party that Sheree was having, where everybody met that man that she was dating, the one who pretended to be a doctor. Yeah. She told that kitchen full of people, strangers and all. Now, she stayed with me for a minute. Now, after that, when Phaedra, she got okay with me. And I really did. I really started like, I love Phaedra. I still do. Um, Kandi, I've been kind of giving what you guys call side eye every now and again throughout the whole time. I always have, and here's why. Not to say that I don't like her. I really do like her, but Kandi's full of crap. She is. Do you? I'll start with this. Kandi had a part in her falling out with Phaedra. Now, I understand, they both had their issues. Phaedra said she, wished that Kandi would have reached out more with all that she was going through. And I can understand Kandi's side too, all the things that she was going through. Both very valid points. But here's the thing. Everybody knew what Phaedra was going through, and it was multiplied because, again, being on TV and social media, everything. Everybody knew what was going on. Now, as far as Kandi's issues go, we pretty much knew what was happening there too, but we didn't know. There were some things that we really didn't know too much about, or how deep it ran. Okay, we knew that her mom acted a donkey, so we knew there was tension between her and Todd because of her mother. Uh, the issue with the play shutting down and people losing, their jobs, people that quit their jobs to join the cast, now don't have, they now don't have employment and things like that. And she felt responsible for that, and she was going through a lot. But here's the thing: you didn't tell everybody. I mean, you didn't really tell that much. So how can I know what's going on with you if you don't tell me? You already know what's happening with me. My stuff is even in the newspapers, from Phaedra's standpoint. So if I'm talking to you and if I'm saying, well, hey, how's things going? Everything good with your mom and Todd? Is it going better? And you know how Kandi gives her answers. And then that's it. She doesn't really go into any detail. And she kind of laughs everything off. So you can't be upset for her. Okay, here's another thing too. Because the thing about Don Juan saying, she didn't even know you were pregnant. Now tell me this. Now, if we're supposed to be friends, why don't I know you're pregnant? And how am I going to know you're pregnant if you don't tell me? How am I supposed to know you're pregnant if you don't tell me? That's your room. You know you're pregnant. You told other people. So eventually, if I hear it through the grapevine or if I read it somewhere, okay, well, now I know. But how am I supposed to know what's going on with you if you don't tell me? However, I let you know what was going on with me, even the stuff I didn't want you to know because it was out there. It was out there because these were serious legal matters with her husband and all of that. So there's a little bit of that there. I still see both of their sides. They were both going through a lot, and I think that they should have reached out to each other a little bit more. Uh, but I see, one thing that we've always noticed about Phaedra is that she pretty much tries to keep her business to herself. She keeps low key. She doesn't divulge too much. She doesn't. And even if asked, she gives you one of those roundabout answers, one of those a lawyer's answer, will say whatever she can without talking about it. We've known that she always plays it close to the chest, She holds her hand close. We all have friends who have different ways of sharing things with us, and we all have that. We have that one friend who will tell everything to everybody all the time, and we have that friend who won't tell you anything. It's like pulling teeth trying to find out. You know, it's like I'm trying to support you and care for you, be there for you, but you got to tell me something if you're not letting me know. And I don't want to keep digging because I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to get in your business. But if I see that, you know, you don't look the same or you're acting a little different and I'm asking you what's going on, if you're not telling me, I'm not going to keep digging. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I'm not going to keep digging. It's going to be on to the next show. You know, we got other things to do. So, Kandi, let me look at what I wrote here. Okay, she never sees her part in matters. Now, perfect example. Okay, she said that she feels for Portia because she can understand. She knows what it's like to when your people are not on your side. You know, like you know, with her relationship, she knows what it's like because she's been in that position with Todd. Now, no, with that being said, if you know what it's like to know to have everybody around you talking about your business and your relationship and your man and all of that, and they're talking around you, they're talking behind your back, they're blogs, even people who are supposed to be friendly with you or writing, you know, little statements on their sites about you, then yeah, you do know what that feels like. But that being said, because you know what that feels like, why is it? Did you notice that she was the first one? She took part in that conversation about Portia, and she was quite vocal in the same conversation that we're talking about. Okay, so she at one point, you know, she said, "Yeah, I know what that feels like," but then she's the one who took part in it. Why, Kandi? And she knew about it. What happens? These people around her are talking, saying all of these things about Duke, and then she goes, "Oh, well, I thought it was the transgenders." Is that what she said? Transgenders or the strip? Oh yeah, the transgenders. She said that's what I heard about. So this means so you knew this stuff. This is supposed to be your friend. You mean to tell me you didn't tell her? You didn't say anything to her? And don't say, well, it's because you know Kandi likes to stay out of the mess. She doesn't want to get involved. Okay, well, if that's the case, then she shouldn't have gotten involved or taken place in that conversation. She should have stepped away and left it alone. But instead, oh yeah, I knew that. This is what I knew about. Mm-hmm. You're in her house, sitting in there in the buzzard's roost, just gossiping about her in her house behind her back. See, that is the reason why Phaedra don't fool with your ass. That's why she doesn't tell you so much. That's it. Because Phaedra, you can say what you want to say about Phaedra, but Phaedra does. She's a smart cookie, though. She might not always display it in the ways that she should, or you know, but she pays attention. And I'm sure that she's noticed throughout these years, you know, for someone who doesn't get involved in things, you sure are involved. You got a lot to say when the time comes, you know. Um, let's see, what else? About, okay, about when Phaedra was telling her about finding out that Apollo had belongings at her home, I can understand Phaedra being upset about that. Again, you're supposed to be my friend. Now, I don't want to hear the point that, oh, well, you know, Todd and Apollo are friends and that's their thing and she doesn't want to get involved. You know what? But you're supposed to be Phaedra's friend and you've been friends longer. Now, I didn't say you had to go and run and wave a flag, showing and telling everything, but you could have said, you know, look, girl, let me tell you, I just want to let you know, you know, some of Apollo's stuff is over here at my house. Okay, I just want to let you know that. It was your obligation as a friend to let her know. So, Apollo and Todd are friends, and I don't want this to affect us or anything. So I'm just letting you know. He asked Todd to leave a couple of things over here, so some of his stuff is at my house. Okay, she should have done that. She should have told him. Now, when Phaedra said, I don't appreciate finding out by someone else that, who's trying to buy these items that it's stored at your house, it made me feel a little taken aback. I was kind of surprised to find that out. And she says that, because I've got the feds knocking at my door looking for these assets and things like this, and I don't know where they are now. I've got to try to figure out and explain where these things are. People are already looking at her like she's part of it anyway. They're calling her the mastermind of all of this stuff and everything. And so now and she has shown us that there's times where she will not tell the truth. So it just looks even more like, okay, so now you're trying to help hide assets too. So I can understand her feelings on that point. Now but instead of Kandi understanding that, and Kandi waits, and she didn't say anything to Phaedra. She gets in a confessional and she says, "Oh, well, the feds are at your door for way more than a motorcycle and a four-wheeler, blah blah blah." Okay, you know what? Yeah, we know this. It's not good. It's in the papers. It's everywhere. We know that, but we're talking about this. Okay, so you say, well, what's that got to do with me? Well, I'm gonna tell you what it's got to do with you. Okay, you wanted to be so quick to say something like that. Guess what? The feds will soon be knocking at your door. Do you realize you're on TV? Do you know that you and Todd can be in trouble for that? You know what's going to happen? You're going to wind up getting audited because now they want to know what else. Anything can happen because now you're helping him to hide assets. And you've told it on national TV. So you know what? Good for you, Phaedra, because that's off of your back now. Because it's been said. She said it out of her own mouth. And they showed some of the items too. So that puts you in the clear on that point. But Kandi, they're going to come to your house looking for it. What are you going to tell them? And you do not want the I.R.S. sniffing around. Now, I'll tell you this too. Birds of a feather most indeed do flock together. Okay? Now, why is Apollo and Todd so close, so tight? You're saying, well, yeah, well, you knew he was a criminal, you knew this, you knew that. Guess what? And so do you, and so does your husband. But they're real tight, they're real cool, they're friends. They're close enough for him to store items at your home that his wife doesn't know about while he's in prison. Excuse me, why would Todd take that chance? So we got to look at Todd now too. And Todd, I used to like you, but I'm looking at you sideways for that too. Because it seems to me that you wouldn't bring that type of attention or draw to your home, to your wife, to your family like that. You're putting yourselves in a serious predicament. Do you know that you could actually be brought? They could be brought up on charges for that. So when Kandi said, "What's that got to do with me?" That's what it's got to do with you. I guarantee you, they'll be at your door next because they want those items that's there, and now they're going to want to know what else is there. See, you said a four-wheeler and a motorcycle. I'm sure it's more than just those two little things. You don't have a box in there somewhere that's taped up, unmarked. I'm sure you got a bunch of things in there. And you might not even know everything that's in there. You don't, because Todd allowed that. So you might want to double check your husband. He's that close with Apollo? Hmm. I'd start thinking. Let's see, what else? What else? What else? Okay. Um, as far as as far as Phaedra saying it's expensive for her to go to Kentucky, we don't know this woman's pockets. We really don't. We don't know what her financial status is right now. We never really did. Some things, you can do a little research on and find out, but we don't know all of it. And we certainly don't know what it is now that all of these things have happened. Okay? Now, going to Kentucky might not seem too far for some people, but when you're a woman with two small children, that's no longer a quick little day trip, a little road trip. Okay? It is travel. It's you and these two children. You got to drive. You got to get hotels. You got to stop every 5 minutes for somebody to use the bathroom. You got to eat. And you can't stay in just some little cheap hotel that doesn't cost much because, again, you got safety that you have to be concerned about. You're a woman traveling with two small children. You've got to make sure that you're in a place that you know that you feel safe in, that you're going to be safe in. Okay? So what could have been a little day trip for someone, with an older child to take is not going to be the same for someone traveling with two small children. So we don't know what type of expense that would be for her. Now, you say, oh, well, you said you make money in your sleep. Okay. And yeah, she did, and maybe she still does. But that doesn't mean she wants to spend it. And you, of all people, should know, Kandi, because with your cheap ass, you don't want to spend anything. You didn't amass your fortune by spending it. You got it, most of it, just by not spending it. Because it wasn't that you always make these wonderful, fabulous business decisions that keep your money rolling in. You had got most of that money. You have most of that money that you still have because you didn't spend it. Okay? And now that you found different ways to replenish it, you spend well. Now, I'm going to tell you, you know what you're doing with your money when it comes to making sure that you have and paying for things outright and opening up new ventures and doing things. Yeah, I give it to you there. I really do. But it's not because you were just throwing away money willy-nilly. Okay? So you can't tell her what she's supposed to do or how far down in her pocket she should dip to do something. And it's not your place to say whether or not she should take her children to a prison. I wouldn't. And I know there's some people who agree with that and there's some people who don't. That's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is those are her children and that decision is for her to make. And she's going to have to live with the consequences, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent. That's something that she's got to deal with. So that's not your business. Now, let me see. What else? I can't read my own writing, people. Because you know what? Sometimes I just jot things down so quickly. Okay, but yeah. So when you were in there, gossiping about Portia's boyfriend and knowing everything about him, in that whole scene is the reason why Phaedra doesn't fool with you. Just watch it because do you all notice how Kandi seems to always know everything about everybody's men, but never says anything. But when it comes to, oh, well, yeah, I knew that. Oh, well, yeah, I knew that. Oh, well, yeah, I knew that. Well, really, you know everything about all these women who are supposed to be your friends now. Okay, you're friends. You know all of these things about their men, and you say nothing to them. And then when it comes out, oh yeah, I knew that. Just like this, blah 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 blah. Wow, thank you, friend. Thank you. Hmm. You do a lot of talking in a roundabout way, but then there's a lot of times you just blurt it right on out, just like you did there about Duke. So if I was Phaedra, I would have pulled back from you too. I see why she pulled back from you because she really doesn't feel as though she can trust you as much as she did, and that's just it. And I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh, you can't talk about trust. Look at Phaedra. Really, has Phaedra betrayed any trust of Kandi? Has she? We haven't heard anything like that. Kandi hasn't said anything like that. Phaedra hasn't said anything like that. We haven't seen Phaedra sitting on information that she knows about. But Kandi, you do it with all these ladies, just like the stuff about Peter. Oh man, you knew all kinds of stuff about Peter, and then when it's come out, you're like, well, yeah, I knew that. Well, why didn't you just say something? I didn't say go run tell like a little gossiper. That's not what I'm saying, but you're supposed to be my friend. Give me a heads up. Hey, blah, 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 blah. But see, you know what I noticed though? The reason why you know about it is because your man is there with these men. And he's coming back and he's telling you things. The reason why he knows is because he's with them. So again, check your man. I'm starting to think Mama Joyce wasn't all that off the mark. And I never really thought she was. I hate the way she handled it. I hate the way she handled it. But I believe she does know something. I just wish that she would have just came on out and told you. And something tells me that she has said something to you off camera. She's told you something behind the scenes and you don't want to hear it, you don't want to listen, and she just went on and let it go. Because you're married now, and she just said, well, you know what, damn it, it's done. I did everything I could, even acting like a nut. Embarrassed myself and my sisters, my granddaughter, my children. I acted like a plumb donkey fool. And it didn't stop you from marrying this man, so it's a done deal now. There's no need of me saying anything else. And now you're getting ready to have a baby. But I bet you, I know she told you something and you didn't listen. You knew. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being in love. I really was in Todd's corner. I rallied for him. I still think that I always thought that he was a pretty good man, a decent man. But there's something about him being so tight with Apollo that tells me something about his character. And another thing is this thing about Phaedra owing him money. Why would he say that on TV? And why would he wait 2 years to bring it up? And that sounds a little that sounds real petty and catty to me. Doesn't sound like anything men do. And to ask you to speak for him doesn't make any sense. He should have this should have been ironclad in the contract before any services were done. It's as simple as that. So whatever he agreed to, he agreed to. And if it's not the terms of the agreement, file that paperwork and take Phaedra's butt to court. That's what you do. But to continuously bring this up like this it is not right. It's not right, Todd. And I'm looking at you a little funny for that. Let's see what else. I don't know. I think that's about it. That's about it. I just wanted to talk about this thing with Kandi and Phaedra. Um, Kandi is always in the know for what's going on with all of this stuff, and I just don't find that to be a friend. Not a friend of mine that you would know these things and let me wind up walking around looking like a fool. If my friend would tell me, my friend. would tell me. So I do hope that you and Phaedra are able to pull it together and reestablish, some sort of friendship. But I can tell you right now, I don't see Phaedra ever fully, really trusting you like that. She is always gonna be a little cool with treating you cool. You're not. She's always gonna have one eye on you. I truly believe that Phaedra does that. She's not the type of person to just go. She might not say anything, but she's gonna keep watch. And she's not. That's why she pulled back, and she's gonna stay pulled back. That's it. I don't see it ever being the way that it was again, because you're probably one of the few people that she ever did really trust that way. And you that was a betrayal of friendship. I know sometimes things happen and friends fall out for all kinds of reasons, but this was really something. This was really something. But again, mark my words, the fence will be at your door. hmm And do you think Apollo? Look, Apollo has lied, stolen, and cheated, and mistreated everybody that we have seen. Okay, we see how he spoke to his wife. We see all of these things. So, and you see the things that you see how he's been with so flirtatious with other women. You've seen how he's been with Kenya. All of these things. And do you think that he's gonna, for 1 minute, treat you any better if it comes down to it? Do you think he's not gonna lie on you and Todd? He might tell them, "Look, I asked them to leave it here until until uh, until I went to jail, and I asked them to call you and tell you to come and pick it up." Now I know it sounds stupid, but Apollo is stupid. He might say anything. He's gonna lie and say, "No, I just asked them to hold on to it until we finish filming because she was changing locks, and I want to make sure that you all would be able to come and get it and sell it so that I could pay my restitution." There's no telling what he will say. So do you really think you've seen how he's treated the people who have done something for him, and the people the mother of his children, his wife, his cohorts in crime, even. Okay, so what makes you think that he won't flip on you too? He's trying to do something to get his time short, and he wants out of there. And whatever it takes, he's gonna do. He's gonna lie about it, and he's not even gonna be good about it. But whatever he has to do, he's gonna do. So let's see what if it was worth it then. But yeah, you might be in for a whole lot more than what you bargained for. And when the IRS starts looking around, they do a damn good job. They crawl up your ass with a microscope. Yeah, and they look at it from the inside out. And something tells me they're gonna find a lot of your polyps. Because they're gonna start looking into your finances, Todd's finances. They would, and anything else you have. And as cheap as you are, Kandi, and always looking for look. I have nothing wrong. I mean, I have no problem with trying to, with being economical. But you're not frugal. You're just cheap. I love frugality, but you're just plain old damn cheap. And I'm wondering if you all didn't make some purchases or deals with Apollo too. I'm wondering whether or not if Peter did, because I still think he got that car from Apollo. That car he came home with that Mallory was asking why who was he to go buy this car when he came home and told Cynthia he had that car. I bet you he got that car from Apollo. We're gonna find out. They're gonna start looking around at everybody, but they're coming to you first. So think about that. I'm done. Those are my thoughts with this Phaedra, uh, Kandi, Todd, Apollo situation. Talk to you guys later.